The Washington Post, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal have them. The Guardian, Asia Times, and Sydney Morning Herald all have them too. And so does the Voice of America. Editorials are a tried and true journalistic tradition. But at VOA, editorials are far from old-fashioned. They look like this. They sound like this.
And maritime disputes in the South China Sea.
And they look and sound like this.
가족, 친구, 그리고 국가에 어떤 영향을 미치는지 궁금하지 않으십니까?
On radio,
तरीके ढाका의 बांग्लादेशी अमेरिकन ब्लॉगर अभिजीत
on TV,
The arrests follow the harsh sentencing in October of 2 Iranian poets.
on the web and mobile. Editorials in a newspaper provide the publisher with the opportunity to express opinions and advocate positions. But the editorial page also allows a space for objective journalism in the rest of the paper. And it's no different at VOA. Editorials for VOA allow the publisher, the United States government, to present its policies clearly and effectively as required by law and the VOA Charter. But the editorials also clearly demonstrate the firewall that protects objective VOA journalism and contrasts U.S. international media efforts from those of Russia or China, where the line between news and editorial is blurred. In fact, the concept of editorials for VOA began as part of the effort in the early 1980s to establish the firewall and free the newsroom and language services from State Department control, while maintaining an authoritative presentation of U.S. policies. The public diplomacy role of VOA editorials was further cemented through the requirements of the VOA Charter and the International Broadcasting Act, and a memorandum of understanding between the State Department and the IBB Policy Office in the late 1990s established a clearance process to ensure that every editorial is an authoritative presentation of U.S. policy.
How serious is the situation in Burma at this point?
Well, from everything we know, it's...
Over the years, the Policy Office has continually updated its presentation of policy and adapted its editorial products to changing priorities, new technologies, and new platforms.
In naming these women, we are sending a message to their governments.
Innovations have included the Rewards for Fugitives PSAs, surge broadcasting in response to major foreign policy events,
en bouteille est bonne à boire et pour la cuisine.
And a multimedia social media campaign on human rights.
Trajtimet dhe diskriminimet ndaj pakicave etnike dhe fetare, të dhunës në familje dhe diskriminimit ndaj krave.
Healthy debate continues about the journalistic and public diplomacy roles of U.S. international media. But Congress has consistently tasked VOA with clearly and effectively presenting the policies of the U.S. government, a task that reporting alone cannot accomplish. After all, CNN, BBC, and even Al Jazeera report on U.S. policy. But that is a different task from presenting policy.
They are losing on the military battlefield and they're losing on the digital battlefield as well.
U.S. policies have enormous impact on millions of lives around the world. And audiences turn to VOA for authoritative presentation and explanation of those policies.
The United States remains extremely concerned about Iran's support for terrorism.
As the U.S. faces major challenges in national security and foreign policy, VOA can best serve its mission and engage its audience through a refreshed tradition of editorials.